Sweet, the silence when they opened the door. No ringtones he heard as he was in flight. Something was there that switched off the on-light. A wafting of foul warns something hides more. The sensory absence is immediate. A heavy, soundless void is established, and then suddenly ruptured by the physical intrusion of a foul scent. Then skids on the floor from shoes that he wore, or the stainless pinch resisting the fight, or the crimson toolbox standing upright, or the shattered casement on the upper floor, or things that fled when they opened the door. Every repeated "or" compounds the physical evidence, turning a scattered room into an escalating sequence of dread. Something was there, and it watched out of sight. The things that did leave knew things were not right. Something was there, and it's not anymore. A legion of questions still hides from the light. May answers arrive in dreams in the night. The tangible clues of a crime scene dissolve into the psychological weight of an unseen watcher, leaving only a desperate wish for clarity. The lingering unease after hearing this text is a mechanical output, driven by the poem's structural engineering. To understand Michael Eugene Cantrall's How He Went Out, we must pull the text out of the shadows and pin it beneath a lens, dismantling its Victorian and Gothic aesthetic layers. Beneath the haunting imagery lies a rigid mathematical foundation, a modified Petrarchan sonnet. We will map this architecture by investigating three specific elements: structural anomalies, rhetorical devices, and the empirical data left behind in the author's draft history. Isolating these components reveals how the author deliberately built a polysemic text, a single poem that supports multiple, mutually exclusive interpretations simultaneously. The classic Petrarchan sonnet is divided into two parts. The first 8 lines, the octet, establish a problem or build tension. The final 6 lines, the sestet, provide a resolution or answer. The hinge between these two sections traditionally occurs at line 9. This is the volta, or the turn, where the poem pivots and the accumulated tension is released. This chart maps a standard Petrarchan rhyme scheme on the left against the actual rhymes of How He Went Out on the right. The poem locks into a relentless A-B-B-A pattern early on. At line 9, where a standard sonnet introduces a new C or D rhyme to signal the volta, this text skips the exit. It reuses the A and B rhymes. Because of this omission, the sestet takes the pressure generated by the octet and plateaus. It forces the reader to endure the height of the problem without offering a resolution. The investigators in the text find no answers, and the physical architecture of the poem imposes that same psychological denial on the reader. The structural trap is tightened by rhetorical tools. Between lines 5 and 9, the text relies on polysyndeton and anaphora, specifically the repetition of the word or the stainless pinch, or the crimsoned toolbox, or the shattered casement. This sequence forces the mind to process an expanding catalog of evidence without a moment to pause. The auditory texture compounds the anxiety. Phrases like shattered casement and stainless pinch utilize harsh, biting consonant sounds that mimic the sharp edges of a physical threat. These sharp edges strike in opposition to the hollow vowels found early in the poem, such as the haunting assonance of a wafting of foul warned. There is also a calculated chronological friction. Placing a modern artifact like ringtones inside what feels like a classic Gothic space creates immediate cognitive dissonance. These lexical choices force the reader to experience the sensory overload of a crime scene in real time, amplifying the structural tension. We can track how the author achieved this effect by examining his iterative draft history. These edits reveal the specific moments the text underwent effective tuning. This comparison tracks a key revision from December 2025. Originally, line 12 read, "Something there was is not anymore." The author deleted this Miltonic inversion, updating the syntax to, "Something was there and it's not anymore." This edit strips away the romantic, archaic distance of the first draft, replacing it with stark phrasing that drags the dread into the present. A critical adjustment occurred in February 2026 to the final line. The original draft ended with the declarative, "No answers arrive." This was rewritten into the optative mood, "May answers arrive." By shifting a statement of fact into an unfulfilled wish, the author finalizes the poem's refusal to provide closure. This rigorous construction creates intentional ambiguity, where multiple interpretations exist simultaneously without contradiction. This diagram isolates three distinct realities. First, we can view the event as a homicide. The stainless pinch maps to forensic tweezers, and the crimsoned toolbox acts as a blood-stained weapon left by a fleeing suspect. But the same text also maps to a tragic internal collapse. Here, the flight is the soul departing, and the things that fled are the living, abandoning a space of trauma. Finally, the poem supports a cosmic horror event. The biblical echo of a legion, the foul presence, and an entity that makes inanimate objects flee all construct a supernatural anomaly. Attempting to prove one scenario is a trap. The machinery of the poem forces these realities to overlap, generating inescapable uncertainty. The poem's influence depends on its architectural refusal to confirm a specific scenario. It wields structure and syntax as tools of withholding. Horror is achieved here by permanently suspending the reader in the dark, offering only an unfulfilled wish for answers in the night.